I remember a chief executive introducing me to his colleagues once. This is Fiona. She sprinkles fairy dust. I don't, obviously, but what I do is a bit difficult to define for some people, because what I do is a lot of organisation development. And sometimes people don't really know what that involves. So what I'm going to try and do for the next few minutes is explain a little bit more about what organisation development is and how it adds value. What organisation development does to add value is really to integrate some of the work around behaviour of the human capital of an organisation with the business of an organisation. Organisation development is often therefore associated with change, bringing about real, sustainable and strategic change in an organisation. Sometimes you'll find that there's a person within a business who has OD in their job title, and it's often associated with HR. It might be that the director of HR and OD exists within your business now. It's important, though, that whoever's got that function sees it and behaves as though it is integral to the whole business. It's not simply the responsibility of one person who operates in one single line. It needs to be owned as across the whole organisation by a whole executive team or the whole top team across the business. Sometimes an organisation will contract in a specialist to help them through a particularly complex change, because they don't need a resource in-house all the time, or because the change that they're requiring to make is very significant, and that's where people like me get involved. Changes that we can bring about and work with are often to do with the behaviour of an organisation. The way behaviour works within an organisation really is through systems and processes as well as through people. Often, organisations think that by changing structures, they're changing behaviour. So I've worked in lots of places where a chief executive will think that by putting a new structure in place, they're bringing about organisational change and development. What they're actually doing is moving people around on a structure chart, and all that happens then is that people carry on doing what they've always done, and eventually people will go back to their previous way of working, and you've ended up having a really expensive way of going in a large circle. So what we try to do is really get underneath what a team or an organisation needs to bring about and find out the root causes of a need for change, build that case for change, and make sure that's part of a strategic change plan, whether it's a corporate strategy or a business plan, and embed that for the longer term. What we're then able to do is start to model that, whether it's personally through our own behaviour or through an OD plan that ensures that a whole host of other opportunities are taken to bring about organisational change in behaviour. That could be through training and learning development opportunities, through business planning, or through processes like performance management culture. We found, for example, that by working with an organisation to introduce a way of working that was really different, that put in place a new way of working, that made sure that people were properly aligned to the performance of the organisation through their own individual objectives, team objectives, and through that, the performance objectives of the organisation as a whole. People began to really understand what the organisation was designed to achieve, and they were properly aligned to that. And as a result of that, the overall performance of the organisation began to change. As a result, we had a more efficient organisation that was much more customer focused and was able consequently to be more efficient and more articulate in terms of what it was offering to its customers. The consequence of that was that it was more attractive to its existing and its future customers. The change was enormous. The offer that it was able to make was much clearer. It was able to explain itself through its products and its services to its customers and to its current and future workforce. People stayed longer, new staff understood what the organisation was about and they wanted to be part of it. And current and future clients both came and stayed. We were able, as a result of all of this, to realise savings and to see the organisation grow. It's an example of how organisation development isn't simply an HR function that's about making changes to structures and systems and people's jobs, but is integral to the business of the organisation and how the organisation grows, changes and shapes itself in a much broader context that looks at the environment and the market that a business is in. Companies are under more pressure than ever to perform and succeed. Organisations need to be really adaptable and nimble. So organisation development will really help any company to ensure that they are ahead of the game. Globalisation of work and the workforce, the challenging environment in which we are all existing, means that we have to be constantly looking ahead and planning for the future, for the uncertainties that are around us all the time. So making sure that we're investing in that, making sure that we're really investing in our people, our processes and our systems so that we're aware of the cultural changes that we need to make and planning for the future is really important.